Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and in this video I want to address a topic that popped up a couple of times recently in conversations, and that's burnout within the close protection business. And that's people saying, okay, they're stressed, they've had enough of dealing with the close protection business, etc., etc. You know what? If you're that fed up with it, if you can't handle it, if you're that fed up with dealing with the BS within the close protection business, go find another job. Period. That's my response to people. If you don't like it anymore, leave. Now, the close protection business, even the investigations business, to me, are careers that I would not recommend to anybody. Personally, I wouldn't do anything else. It's what I do. It's what I've been doing for over 35 years. So for me, it's a way of life. I'm used to it. I'm used to the BS. I'm used to all the aggravation, etc. And for some reason, I keep doing it. But for a lot of people, what the close protection investigations business, once they get into it, they realize it's not what all the glossy brochures and training courses make out to be. It's not the movies. It can be a very mundane, stressful business, stressful world. Let me address one factor that stresses out a lot of people very, very quickly, and that's money. If you're freelancing in the close protection world, investigations world, you're working job to job. There is no paycheck security. So this is where you need to be able to manage your finances. If you can't manage your money, you're going to have problems. So whenever you're working, when you're on a contract, you need to make sure you're putting money aside to pay your taxes. And also that's going to bide you over until your next contract comes in. I know I've seen how many people, they get a good job, etc., and they go and blow all their money. They buy a new car, they buy this, they buy that. And you know what? Next month, they don't have the money to pay for the car. They don't have money to put gasoline in the car because they spent all their money on bullshit. So you need to be able to plan your finances well. Also, you need to have alternative methods of income. This is where I tell people, if you're in the close protection business, investigations business, also look into doing, especially when you're starting out, and this is what kept me afloat, event security, hotel security, anything that can generate money, anything that can bring things in. I've known one guy comes to mind who's very successful. He had a hair salon. Him and his wife had a hair salon, and the close protection business was his side hustle. But again, the close protection business is about making money. But a lot of people get into it thinking, okay, they're going to do a course, and the next week they're going to be making thousands of dollars a day flying around the world. Not going to happen. You need to look at this from a business perspective and think about how you're going to pay your bills. If you get a contract, okay, put the money aside off that contract so you can survive after that contract. But again, you need to have money coming in. So you need to think about doing other things within the security business, investigations business, or have another line of income. And the financial thing, I'd say for most people in the close protection business that get into it, is what gets them out of it very, very quickly, especially if they've got a family, responsibilities, and they need to have regular money coming in. The other thing that tends to kill people off is, well, the other thing it drives that can be the main, how can I put it, the main issue with the close protection security world in general is you'll be working long, long hours. This is what a lot of people don't realize. It's not a 9 to 5, 8 hours a day. When I'm working with clients, these days I have other people working with the clients and I'm the one generally on call, is it's a 24/7 job. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm working. My phones are going to the minute I go to sleep. And these days I tend not to answer calls when I'm asleep, but back in the day it was 24/7. You can be working extended hours. And I think the longest stint I ever done working constantly, shifts, because I was working for other people when I was in London, was something like 36 days, 12 on, 12 off, residential. At the time, it was, again, it's 12 on, 12 off, but again, you got to think your time for administration, etc., getting to work, getting home from work, etc. You know what? It's long, long hours. And in the end, working extended shifts can be exhausting. mentally and physically. Physically, because a lot of times you can't exercise, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have no life. and it's just tiring. This is where, even when you're working with clients traveling on an international level, you don't have time for yourself. This is what a lot of people don't understand. If you're working with clients, you're working for the client. You're on call for that client. You have to pay attention to what's going on all the time. You don't have time for a social life. You need to be on call 24/7. A lot of people don't like that. Why? Because especially if they have families, etc., they want to go out partying, they want to do this, they want to do that. The close protection business, generally you can't do that. How can I put it? As I said, this is a way of life for me. I'm used to it. So again, for me, the job always comes first. As far as social lives, personal lives, etc., you know what? If you want that way of life, if your personal and social life has any priority in your life, I would say the close protection business, the serious close protection business, is not for you. And I look at it with people these days, the people I'm dealing with, okay, you have to be focused on work. I don't care if your wife is sleeping with somebody else, your boyfriend is sleeping with somebody else, or whatever pathetic problems you got in your personal life. The job comes first. And if you don't see it that way, then you know what? You're not for my world. So this is another thing that gets people. And I tell people, if you're working too much, if you're working for extended periods of time, at some point you're gonna have to take a break. So go somewhere and detach. If you want to go if you're working for extended, if you're working for a few months, then after those few months, go somewhere, be it go to the hills and go hiking, or go to Thailand and go on a bender and get drunk for 2 weeks. Whatever, stay out of trouble. Try to stay out of trouble. Whatever you do, you need to take a break from things. Why? Because even if, especially if you're hanging around doing nothing and waiting for people for extended periods of time, your brain's going to end up going dead. You're going to get the burnout. You need stuff to stimulate your mind. So I tell people, if you're working for extended periods of time, if you get that burnout, then okay, detach yourself, go somewhere. As I said, go hiking, go on a bender, do whatever. But I find if you have the side hustles, if you have other things to keep you concentrate, give you other things to focus on, especially if it's business related, okay, it can take your mind off the monotony of providing protection services or waiting for other people, etc. And also it can generate some income. You know what? As far as boredom's concerned, I've told people, and the people that I deal with understand my world a little bit. You know what? I've literally quite a few times spent weeks, a month, sat in a hotel room with no gym, with no swimming pool, with nothing. Sat in hotel rooms waiting for meetings, which has taken less than 30 minutes. But you know what? This is my business. This is my world. This is the thing the meetings were worthwhile, but you need to have patience in the close protection business, especially if you're going after contracts. You need to have a lot of patience. You need to be able to deal with boredom. If you can't do that, you don't belong in this business. When, how can I put it? After those months and months, then hopefully it'll be waiting for people and working. Hopefully things will be worthwhile for you. They've been worthwhile for me. But again, the close protection business is a very difficult business as far as I would say the financial side of things, not having regular work, and also the boredom of waiting for people and dealing with other people's frustrating problems, which could have been dealt with very, very quickly if people had addressed them in the first place. But that's the business. So a little bit of advice, a little bit of insight there. So follow me along on social media. I mainly use LinkedIn. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And also I have an array of books up on Amazon that talk about various aspects of the close protection business. As I said, this business is something I wouldn't recommend, but it's something I would, it's the only thing I would do, put it that way. And I must be doing it till I'm well and truly buried. Be good, stay safe, and stay out of trouble.